Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. Appreciate you coming to the Funhouse. We're going to talk about singers that we all know from one rock band, but did you know that they had other efforts that came from other rock bands? It's kind of neat when you really like a voice to go seek out other bands that person was in. Some are going to be really easy, and maybe you'll learn something today. Also, right now, before we get into those singers, we're going to do a quick concert review. Every summer I try to go to some classic rock, groups that are past their heyday, but it's still fun to listen to the music. I have an amphitheater near me. It's in Tinley Park. I don't even know what they're calling it anymore. It used to be called the World Amphitheater. I saw Lollapalooza 1, 2, and 3 there back in 91, 92, 93. I've seen Rush there, and Styx there, Judas Priest there, Deep Purple there, The Who there. It's great time, although the venue kind of sucks to get in. The parking sucks, the food is overpriced, and whatever. I got lawn seats for $20. They were running a sale on this Men at Work, Christopher Cross, Toto. 3 bands I've never seen before, familiar with the big songs from each of those 3 artists, and hey, put all 3 on the bill, put on a offer to get a $20 lawn seat, and I'm there all day. Usually don't sit in the lawn, I try to get seats. Sometimes when they don't sell a lot of tickets, I'll actually move everyone from the lawn to up front, which just recently happened when Joan Jett and Billy Idol played there. They just moved everyone up. I also had that happen to me when Alice in Chains and Jane's Addictions, a whole bunch of bands, Coheed and Cambria, played there, but they didn't promote it whatsoever, so hardly anyone was there, oddly enough, and I got moved. I think I was 3rd row, and I paid for a cheap lawn seat. First band on is Men at Work, one of my favorite 80s bands. Their heyday, between 81 and 85, they have 3 albums, and I like the majority of the songs on the album, so it certainly wasn't ever a band that I just liked the big hits. I bought all the albums, and I always loved the other songs as well. But obviously, in this set list, which I'll show you here, they're going to crank out the hits for the most part. You get a half-hour, 40-minute set as the opener, and you're just going to play the hits. It's Colin Hay, pretty much. He's 72. Still sounded phenomenal. I always thought he was kind of like Sting, where he can get up in that higher range when he sings. And of course, the musicians behind him were always kind of picked from him, but no one from the classic lineup of the band is there. It's just Colin Hay with new people. One person is his wife, so that's got to be fun, touring with your wife. Maybe not. Maybe fun, maybe not. Depends on who your wife is, right? And what kind of mood she's in. Oh, so moody! Rachel Mazer and sax and flutes did a hell of a job. Drummer was great. The whole band, like I said, musicianship behind Colin Hay for this incarnation of Men at Work is phenomenal. So go see him if you haven't ever seen him and you're familiar with the hits. I'll play a little bit here. Yeah, so they sound great. Up next, which was an artist that I thought I would never see ever, but heck if I didn't hum some of his hits over and over. Sailing, crying out loud. Run Like the Wind. Talk about Christopher Cross. Big thing was around 74. He was a big artist. 74 to 81 was probably his time. The big song that a lot of people are going to know. Theme from Arthur. I know it's crazy, but it's true. And co-written by Burt Bacharach. Arthur's theme, The Best You Can Do. And it's a fun movie too, with Mr. Dudley Moore, Liza Minnelli. Good stuff. And to me, this song, there's a lot of songs that take you back, and this one for sure takes me back. I remember watching this movie with my parents. And speaking about Mr. Dudley Moore, if you ever get a chance, for those of you that collect comedy vinyl and the sort, Derek and Clive was actually Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. I don't know if any of you have this out there, but it is freaking funny. I don't find myself laughing a lot at comedy routines on vinyl. You kind of have to be at a comedy club, or I actually don't really laugh a lot. I love comedy and I love to laugh, but it takes a lot, I guess I should say, for a comedian to make me laugh out loud, let's say. But this one, it'll have you laughing out loud. It's a hell of an album. If you ever see it, pick it up. Anyway, Dudley Moore and Peter Cook on that one. But yeah, the Arthur theme, you're sitting back on the lawn, you're listening to it. I'm like, wow, this is as close as a throwback to the 70s kind of I can get. It's good stuff. After that was Toto, and I gotta admit, we all own this one, right? Every vinyl collector, this is a Toto album you get, right? I'm a Toto fan of their hits. I try to get into the other proggy pop I guess is a good way to say it. Other songs of theirs, and I don't know, it just doesn't grab me in a way. And that's what happened to their show live. They did space out their familiar hits, which is a smart thing to do, and I enjoyed those. But in between those hits, I just couldn't get into them that much. They sound great. Main guitar player is still with them, Steve Lukather, I guess. He's 67. Joseph Williams, he's 64. He was pretty much in a band like 86 to 88, and he rejoined in 2010 till now. Joseph has a hell of a voice, still able to get up there, but it's not the familiar one on the songs. The familiar singer was Bobby Kimball or David Parsh. I'm not a big Toto fan, so I'm sorry if I'm not. I guess those two were the main people in the band. Had a big part in 80s two's Africa song, which oddly enough, my first trip to Kenya, it was in 2003, and I get off the airport at Nairobi Airport, and I get, it's when you get off the plane and then you go into the airport kind of a thing, and the first song I hear is Africa by Toto, and I'm like, did they just have this on a loop? Welcome to Africa, but oh yeah, play the Toto song, here comes another plane, and it's like, wow, this is weird. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, you're going to hear Africa, Roseanne, and Hold the Line. Hold the Line was good. They all sounded great, but like I said, because it's not, besides Steve, his voice, you're kind of, okay, but yeah, it sounds good, but it's a different tone to it. But a great show. The musicians they have around them are a phenomenal musicians, so it's well worth it. I don't know how much of this tour is left by the time this video comes out. Whenever I upload, there's not going to be too much of that tour left, but for sure go check it out. I mean, especially if you can get a cheap ticket, kick back and listen to the three artists really play some great songs. Alright, let's go into bands. Singers, rather. Famous rock singers that maybe you don't know their stuff. The cover of this has Mr. Ronnie James Dio. Look at that. Ronnie James Dio was an elf. Of course, we all know Dio. We all know other things that he's done, which I'll get to, but if you don't know Elf, check it out. It's like more of a rock and roll side of Dio. And I have this one here. Here they got smart here. They're like, featuring Ronnie James Dio. Like, we want you heavy metal kids that purchase this repressing. Features Ronnie James Dio. But yeah, Elf, Carolina Country Ball is this one here. And I have another Elf album, Trying to Burn the Sun. Elf here. It was 72 to 75 was his Elf years. 3 albums there with Elf. Well, EP here. And then he was in a little band. Richie Blackmore called him up. Said, hey, why don't you play in Rainbow? Oddly enough, I don't have a lot of Dio albums of Rainbow. I have the CDs, but Dio Rainbow era was 75 to 78. Again, I believe it's 3 albums. And then a live album, which is what this is, Dio. And then we all know, Ozzy left. Oh, rest in peace, Ozzy. Ozzy left, and who are they going to get to fill his shoes? A lot of people would have written Black Sabbath off. I mean, Ozzy, Black Sabbath, but I think they did strong. Ronnie James Dio said, hey, I'll sing that stuff. Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell. Joined Black Sabbath around 79 and had 4 albums, including the Heaven and Hell album. So this is Heaven and Hell. This is the Mob Rule. I love the title track. Especially in a soundtrack for the movie, I'll take this down. Especially in a soundtrack for the movie Heavy Metal, Mob Rules. That's perfect for that scene. But Black Sabbath, Mob Rules. He's got a very distinctive voice too. It comes another. I'm just showing on vinyl at this point. Humanizer, gotta get that. And of course, Heaven and Hell. To me, it's always a Black Sabbath album, but they just figured let's call it Heaven and Hell. They did a few tours like this too. Heaven and Hell on vinyl. This is worth a pretty penny here. Not everyone has that. You saw that exclusively on Brian's Funhouse. But yeah, we all know him. How I knew him at first, even though I was filming the song Mob Rules, I wasn't really making a connection to Black Sabbath and all these. It was like growing up, Rainbow, Black Sabbath, it was hard to like, who are they? What singers? And what? Deep Purple too. Like who? Because when I was a kid, it was certain people in the band, but then I'm like, oh no, their heyday was with this group, their classic lineup was this group, and it's just crazy. But Dio, yeah. When MTV was around, and I was listening to the early videos like Holy Diver and Last in Line, the first 2 albums of his. Yeah. So Ronnie James Dio, if you like that voice, I mean, you should know he was in Black Sabbath. But maybe you didn't know he was in Rainbow, and maybe you didn't know he was in Elf. All right. This guy Dave Grohl, who's in Foo Fighters, used to play in Nirvana. Just kidding. So Dave King, a lot of us heavy metal people know him as singer Fastway, right? And this could go either way. So I think he's equally popular in each scene. But they got a few albums out. They did do the soundtrack for the movie Trick or Treat, which has Ozzy and Jason in it. But All Fired Up by Fastway. This guy, Dave King, and it had Fast Eddie Clark from Motorhead in it. But Mr. Dave King down there, right? And he goes, after a few albums, he's like, I'm kind of done. It's a great band. If you don't have any records from Fastway, check it out. If you like rock, heavy metal, good stuff. So his Irish roots started the show, so to speak, and he joined the band, or formed the band rather, Flogging Molly. Flogging Molly. Now a lot of heavy metal people are like, oh, I don't like that Irish stuff. Yeah, I don't think you have to be Irish to like it or whatever. It's great stuff. I've seen this band live. They're one of the best, fun live bands. They'll have you jigging if you don't even know how to jig. It's like eating a shamrock shake. It's like eating a shamrock shake. I didn't have another side to that. It's just like eating a shamrock shake. It's good for you. It's good stuff. Flogging Molly. What do I have written for them? They have 7 albums out. I have 5 of them. They do wear down. We're like, okay, some albums are better than others. Others kind of lag on, in my opinion. But they're all good. But yeah, Swagger, this is the first one. You want to get this. This is like the deluxe box expensive set, so to speak, on that one. But he was in Fastway from 83 to 86. Had 4 of them, plus including the soundtrack to Trick or Treat. And he was in a band called Kathmandu in 92, I believe. They have 1 CD out. You have to pay like $20 or so more on eBay for that. I know it's hard to come by, but if you come by the Kathmandu CD for cheap, pick it up. It's always on my want list. But so yeah, Mr. Dave King, Fastway, and Flogging Molly, same voice. This other guy here, this other young lad, he's like 77 years old, I believe now. Mr. Brian Johnson was in a band called Gordy. And the AC/DC guys knew of him, including Mr. Bon Scott knew of him. And so when, sadly, we lost Bon Scott, and personally for me, it's sad that every time you do an AC/DC video, you got to talk about it, and here I am talking about it. But I do prefer the Bon Scott era more than the Brian Johnson era. But there's good Brian Johnson stuff. Man, that Bon Scott era was golden. But anyway, Brian Johnson here was in Gordy. There's a few albums out. I just have the 45s out. Picked those up, I believe, when I was in Germany. But we all know Brian Johnson. We all know that voice when he joined AC/DC in 1980. He currently has like 12 studio albums out with AC/DC. Way more than Bon Scott had with them. This is one of the ones I like, Flying the Wall. It's not my favorite one, but it's good. A lot of people overlook this one. It's got Simon Wright on bass, or on drums rather. Sorry, Cliff Williams on bass. And the Young Brothers. Oh man, Flying the Wall, good stuff. So that's Brian Johnson. You like his voice, AC/DC. You only know him from Back in Black on. We'll go before that. Check out some Gordy. It could have a CD comp for all I know. I don't know. Billy Squier, who's now 75, had 9 albums out. But let's just talk about his big one in 81, which is Don't Say No. If you have a rock collection, how do you not have this in it if you don't? This is great. Early 80s, this was just, like I said, 81, this was on rock radio. I thought this guy was going to be like a Bruce Springsteen. We're just always going to hear about him. His albums are always going to be sought after. People are always going to want to follow what he's doing. And it just didn't work out for him to maintain that popularity level all the time. But Billy Squier, this is a great record. Oh my Lord, that's a great record. And he's got a few others that are hit or miss here and there, but for sure you want to get that one. Now, if you like that Billy Squier voice, which he has a pretty cool voice, although I'm not a big fan of the stroke. I like In the Dark, My Kind of Lover, 2 Days Gone, Lonely as the Night. Those 4 I prefer more than the stroke, but anyway, great voice. If you like that voice, promotional copy not for sale, so don't offer to buy this from me. I can't sell it to you. The FBI will be all over me. But he was in a band called Piper. And what do I have written here? He was in a band called Piper from 75 to 78, and they have 2 albums out. And I tell you, if you like that Don't Say No from Billy Squier, you might want to check out Piper, man. These are good records. 2 albums, like I said, from a band called Piper, featuring Billy Squier on vocals. Now at 75, Lou Gramm, you're gonna see him maybe do a few Foreigner shows. I don't know if he's hopping on stage with them, but that band's been kind of controversial because they're kind of calling it quits. But then they said no, they're just gonna replace the replacement singer, and they've had a few singers in Foreigner, but it's kind of, and that's a whole nother video. When do bands aren't really the bands anymore? They're just. But anyway, I digress. Never got to see Lou Gramm in Foreigner, sadly. I did get to see Foreigner 2 or 3 times more recently-ish, and I saw Lou Gramm recently, and there were hints of that old voice coming through, and that felt good. And we're all glad that Lou beat his health problems and is still with us. But Foreigner with Lou Gramm, this is the debut. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Came out in 77. He did 6 albums with him from 77 to 90, and then he kind of had a falling out. He did a few solo albums, which was good stuff. But Lou Gramm, if you like that voice, and how could you not? What a great voice he has. And I just saw this, Brendan Snyder, a YouTuber that does music, he was talking about Lou Gramm and Black Sheep, and I was like, what? I'm going to talk about Lou Gramm, Black Sheep. And I have, in previous videos, I think I've talked, when I purchased these, I was talking about Lou Gramm. But Black Sheep is a band that Lou Gramm was in before Foreigner. And that was 74 to 75, and they put out these 2 albums here, Black Sheep. So if you like that Foreigner voice, you know, you like your Foreigner 4, you like your Urgent, you like that Waiting for a Girl Like You like all those Foreigner hits. Me, I'm more of a hot-blooded man, a double vision man, a head games man. But anyway, Black Sheep, you'll find that Lou Gramm voice. It's more of a rocky, like a Bad Company kind of style. Not as much poppy as Foreigner grew to be, but Black Sheep. If you like that Lou Gramm voice, you listen to some Black Sheep. Also, Lou Gramm was in a band, and this just came today when I was doing research. You research? I was doing research for this channel, and I also learned that Lou Gramm, besides the solo stuff, besides Black Sheep, besides Foreigner, was in a band called Shadow King, and they had 1 CD out in, I'm putting down 91, and I'm a big fan of Lou Gramm's voice. I guess that's him on the end there, but Shadow King. So if you like Lou Gramm, I'm thinking it's probably going to be 91. It's not going to sound like Nirvana. I don't think Lou went that route. So I'm thinking AOR type arena kind of rock kind of stuff. So probably a little cheese in there too. But Shadow King, looking forward to playing this and hearing Lou Gramm. Hey, one more before we go. Let's talk about Bruce Dickinson, who does solo stuff now, along with being a pilot and a spoken word artist and all the other stuff. He's still fronting Iron Maiden. I don't know if I'm going to go see. I just saw them on the last tour, which they featured a lot of Somewhere in Time music. I don't know if I'm going to go see him on this current tour. It's supposed to be more like deep tracks and all that stuff. And it didn't. The set list didn't really do too much for me, enough to pay the tickets, because they're, you know, not cheap to go see a band anymore. But anyway, Iron Maiden. Look at this, Power Slave, original press, Power Slave, original United States press, whatever. And yeah, I've had all the Iron Maiden albums for a long time. Ain't I cool? But Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson, he's got a solo album. He's got Iron Maiden. What else did he do? I'm telling you right now, he did Samson. Bruce Dickinson, who's 67, 13 albums with Iron Maiden from 81 to 93, then chilled for a while. And then from 99 till now, 2025, did 7 solo albums. But Samson, from 79 to 81, they did 2 albums. They did Head Tactics. And, no, Head Tactics is actually a comp of the 2 albums they did. They did, like, hold on, let me give you some facts. So they did Head On in 80, and then Shock Tactics in 81. So Head Tactics is, like, songs from each of those 2 albums. And then after Bruce left to go with Iron Maiden, which is a good career choice, I'd say, they did get another singer, and they've been doing stuff off and on and all that stuff. But Paul Sampson is a guitar player, and Thunderstruck was drums and percussionist. What was he thinking? Some weird German S&M thing? I don't know what the hell is going on down there. But that's not what you wear for a promo shoot. But Bruce, if you ever know, some Iron Maiden fans may not even know. Casual heavy metal fan probably has no idea. If you like that high siren voice that Bruce Dickinson delivers, check out some Samson. Well, I hope you found some other albums to collect if you like the singers that are in the popular bands. Now you're going to see their more unknown bands, and I'm here to perform that service to let you know who is and what. All right, thanks for watching.